In a remote, small town, where the roads are quiet and simple wooden houses line the green hills, Olivia, a 24-year-old girl, has nurtured a dream of becoming a professional hairstylist. However, her path to this dream was not easy. As a child, Olivia was always fascinated by fashion magazines, beautiful, extravagant hairstyles, and the styling sessions her mother often participated in. But in the eyes of her parents, Olivia couldn't shape a stable future in this profession. Her father, a strict man, always advised her to choose a field that society recognized, one that could ensure a stable life, such as becoming a doctor or an engineer. Her mother was no less serious, believing that studying medicine would help Olivia achieve social status. However, Olivia couldn't bring herself to live according to those expectations. She felt that her life would be meaningless without the pursuit of her dream of hairstyling. Every night she stayed up late, practicing cutting her hair and studying various hairstyles online and in books. She loved the feeling of her hands, creating a new beauty, a new look for someone else. One day, when Olivia was 19, the tension between her and her family reached its peak. Her parents insisted that she apply to medical school, her 11,000 scoring grade in that course, an ultimatum that could not be negotiated. She argued back, strongly opposing them. "No, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to do hair." Those words, with both determination and a deep longing, made the air in the house feel heavy. She had tried to convince them to understand her dream, but no one was willing to listen. Unable to convince her parents, Olivia decided to move out on her own. Although she knew it was a bold and difficult decision, she believed it was the only way she could truly live for herself. She found a small room to rent in the town, a place where she could freely do what she wanted without any interference from her family. Still, Olivia couldn't forget the pain of leaving her family behind. She missed her mother's words and her father's sad looks, but she believed her choice was the right one. Only when we dare to pursue our dreams can we live a complete life, she reminded herself. After leaving her family and becoming independent, Olivia found a job at Mrs. Scarlett's hair salon, a talented and determined woman. Mrs. Scarlett's salon was so well known that no one in the small town didn't know about it. Over 60% of the local population came here for haircuts, beauty treatments, and even hair and scalp care. Mrs. Scarlett had taken over the family business of hairstyling from her late father, and from a very young age, she continued to grow the small family salon into a strong brand. Mrs. Scarlett was a strong, determined woman with a deep passion for her profession. Under her guidance, Olivia learned not only hairstyling skills, but also how to manage the salon, interact with clients, and most importantly, how to maintain creativity and love for the work throughout the years. Mrs. Scarlett had worked tirelessly for nearly 40 years from when she was just 20 years old, which made her a symbol in the community. The story of Mrs. Scarlett was not just a career story, but also a testament to perseverance and deep love for the craft. From the first time Olivia stepped into Mrs. Scarlett's salon, she felt the warm and professional atmosphere of the place. The meticulously styled hair, the happy and satisfied clients all made her feel like she had found a second family. Although this job was challenging, Olivia felt like she was gradually getting closer to her dream. Mrs. Scarlett's salon was not only a place for her to learn, but also a place where she could live with passion and belief in herself. In the beginning, the work was not easy. Olivia had to work from early morning to late at night. alongside her experienced colleagues, learning new techniques and unique hairstyling styles. Every day, she faced new challenges, from handling the difficult requests of clients to learning how to handle stressful situations when clients were dissatisfied. However, all these experiences were valuable lessons that helped Olivia grow in her profession. Mrs. Scarlett, though already a devoted mentor, never hesitated to offer Olivia advice. Hairstyling is not just about creating external beauty, but it's also about how we listen and understand others. When you take care of someone's hair, you're also taking care of their soul, she once shared. These words made Olivia realize that hairstyling was not just a job, but a true art, and she was determined to learn and become an outstanding stylist in the industry. One morning, as Olivia was cutting a regular client's hair, the client smiled brightly and complimented her. Olivia smiled and continued to focus on each strand of hair. "Thank you, I'm so glad you like it. Every time I cut your hair, it feels like I get to create a little more." The client looked at herself in the mirror, pleased with her new hairstyle. "I'm serious, no one does hair as beautifully as you do. You've helped me feel more confident." Olivia finished the last few cuts and beamed a bright smile. "Thank you. It makes me happy to see my clients satisfied. With your talent, this salon will become famous one day, Olivia." Olivia looked at the client in the mirror, her eyes full of inspiration and determination. She no longer saw this job as just a profession, but as a career she would pursue for life. With her increasingly prominent talent, Olivia gradually won the affection of most of the salon's clients. They loved the meticulousness and creativity she put into every hairstyle she created, often requesting her to style their hair. This made Mrs. Scarlett, who had once been her mentor and guide, feel an inexplicable unease. She didn't openly show her displeasure, but her small actions unintentionally revealed her worries. Occasionally, Mrs. Scarlett would leave Olivia out of conversations or give a stiff smile when clients praised her. Once, when a customer requested Olivia to do their hair, Mrs. Scarlett quietly turned away and did not join the conversation as usual. One day, after Olivia finished working with a client, Mrs. Scarlett suddenly spoke from behind. "The client is very pleased with the hairstyle, but I think you should pay a little more attention to the back styling. That's a very important detail." Olivia turned around, a bit surprised by the lack of praise. However, she kept a respectful demeanor and gently said, "Thank you, Mrs. Scarlett. I'll pay more attention to that part." Mrs. Scarlett nodded, but her eyes couldn't hide the worry. She looked at the young woman with a hint of hesitation, as though afraid that if Olivia continued to shine like this, her salon would gradually lose customers. Day by day, the relationship between Mrs. Scarlett and Olivia became more tense, even though both still maintained a friendly exterior. Mrs. Scarlett's small gestures didn't escape Olivia's notice, and she began to sense the change and how she was being treated. Olivia didn't speak about it, but in her heart, she couldn't help but worry about the future of their mentor-mentee relationship. Olivia would sit alone in the small room behind the salon on quiet evenings, her heart heavy with thoughts. She never imagined that one day she would surpass Mrs. Scarlett, the woman who had guided and mentored her step by step when she was just a naive girl starting in the profession. From the very beginning, Mrs. Scarlett had given her opportunities and dedicated herself to passing on every skill, from how to cut hair beautifully to how to communicate with clients in a friendly manner. To Olivia, Mrs. Scarlett was not just a teacher, but a second mother who had helped her stand firm in a highly competitive field. Every time she saw Mrs. Scarlett quietly observing her, Olivia felt an indescribable sadness. She didn't want to cause any discomfort for her, nor did she want to make her feel threatened. But with every compliment from customers, every time a client asked for her to do their hair, Olivia couldn't help but feel awkward. She loved her work, loved what she was doing, but she never wanted these successes to become the reason Mrs. Scarlett felt abandoned. Olivia clearly remembered Mrs. Scarlett's words. A teacher always hopes their student will be better than them, but the thing is, no one wants their student to surpass them too quickly. Although she hadn't said it directly, Olivia understood that Mrs. Scarlett was feeling anxious, afraid that she would lose everything she had built over the years. She wondered if, perhaps, she had unintentionally made Mrs. Scarlett feel that way. Olivia didn't want to do that, but she also couldn't stop loving the profession of hairstyling. Since she was young, she had dreamed of creating beautiful hairstyles and helping others feel more confident. And now, that dream has come true. But this very thing also caused her to face an inexplicable internal struggle. On a fateful rainy afternoon, as Olivia was preparing to clean up the salon, a middle-aged man walked in. He was dressed simply, his hair messy, and his face looked sorrowful. Olivia immediately recognized him as a war veteran from the badge on his jacket. He looked around the salon, his eyes slightly hesitant, as though unsure of what to do there. Olivia smiled and walked over. "Hello, how can I help you?" The man lowered his head, his voice heavy with sadness. I want to get a haircut, but I don't have enough money. It's okay. I'll cut your hair for free. Just let me have the chance to help you." The man was taken aback, his eyes lighting up as he thanked Olivia with a shy smile. She led him to the chair and began working. During the process, they chatted a little, and Olivia learned that his name was Edric. He had served in the military, but after leaving, he had fallen into hard times. His wife had left him, and his job was unstable. His life now seemed to be falling apart, piece by piece. When Olivia finished cutting his hair and Edric looked into the mirror, his face showed clear gratitude. He thanked her several times and even said, "We can be perfect friends again. In spite of all the chaos, I will protect you and look out for you, my sacred honor." Thank you. Really, thank you. Something as simple as a haircut can really change my mood. Olivia smiled in response. "That's why I do this work, to help others feel better. And don't worry, there will be brighter days ahead for you." However, Mrs. Scarlett, standing at the counter, was not pleased. She watched Olivia's every move while she cut Edric's hair, and her face betrayed her displeasure. When Edric left the shop, Mrs. Scarlett called Olivia over, her voice cold. "Olivia, how many times have I told you not everyone deserves your help? Is this a charity salon? If you give free haircuts to everyone, my shop will have no customers left. Do you understand?" She paused for a moment, took a breath, and continued in a harsh one, as if each word was a strike. "You are not a charity, Olivia. Every action you take here not only affects you, but it affects the shop, it affects me. You think everything should be free, but who will pay for the services you provide? You can follow your emotions, but I can't let my shop suffer because of it." Olivia stood still, her heart tightening. She never imagined that such a small gesture, one simple act of helping someone in need, would provoke such a strong reaction from Mrs. Scarlett. Olivia felt a lump in her throat but tried to stay calm. "Mrs. Scarlett, I just wanted to help. He's a veteran. He's sacrificed for the country. How could I refuse to help someone like him?" Before she could finish, Mrs. Scarlett interrupted. "And I gave you the opportunity, helped you become the best here. But what about you? What you're doing is ruining my business. Remember, this job isn't just about helping people. It's business. If you don't understand that, I'm not sure I can keep you here." Mrs. Scarlett looked at Olivia with a cold stare, her voice firm. "You need to pay for his haircut. There's no charity here." Olivia was stunned, but before she could say anything, Mrs. Scarlett continued. "And you're fired immediately. I can't let you ruin my business like this." Olivia's heart seemed to stop. She couldn't believe what she had just heard. You're firing me?" The question hung in the heavy air, but Mrs. Scarlett just nodded, without hesitation. Olivia felt as though everything was collapsing. She turned and walked away, feeling full of disappointment and hurt. When the neighbors heard the shouting between Mrs. Scarlett and Olivia, they called the mayor. Soon after, the mayor appeared at the shop. After speaking with Mrs. Scarlett, he turned to Olivia, gently reassuring her. "Don't be sad, Olivia. I know you're talented. My wife also works in the hair industry, and we need someone like you." He smiled. "I want to offer you a job, with a higher salary, working for my family." Olivia was stunned, but she also felt a sense of relief at the unexpected offer. The next day, when Edric heard about the incident between Olivia and Mrs. Scarlett, he decided to visit her to offer encouragement. He spoke to her in a warm tone. "Olivia, you don't deserve to go through this. I want to help you open your salon. You have the talent, and I believe you can make it." Edric sat down and told her a surprising story. "In the past, I saved up a lot of money to travel the world with my wife, but unfortunately, she left me, and now I have no use for that money anymore." Edric looked at her with sincere eyes. "I didn't come here just for a haircut. I wanted to test your character, because you're the only one who's treated me well, even though I look like a homeless person," he continued. "Before coming here, I traveled to several cities, asking for free haircuts from people, but most of them refused. Some even looked down on me, insulted me, and even hit me. But when I met you, you didn't back down. You gave me a chance, and that's why I trust you." Edric's words were like a touch on Olivia's heart. She could feel the sincerity in every word he spoke, and it became a powerful motivation for her to pursue her dreams. Olivia hurried to meet the mayor after her conversation with Edric. She lowered her head, her voice firm. The mayor looked at her for a moment, then smiled warmly. "I respect your decision, Olivia. You have the talent, and I believe you will succeed. If you need help, I will always be here to support you." Olivia felt relieved to receive the mayor's encouragement, but what moved her the most was Edric's sincerity. He was the first person to trust and encourage her. "You won't be alone," Edric said. "We will always be by your side, helping you when needed." The encouragement from both men gave Olivia the strength she needed, making her more determined as she moved forward. She knew that no matter how difficult it got, she would never give up on her dream. In the end, Olivia made her dream come true. With the support of the mayor and Edric, she opened a small yet vibrant salon where customers not only came for beauty treatments, but also to experience her dedication and professionalism. Though it wasn't easy at first, with perseverance and a love for the craft, Olivia gradually built a loyal customer base and made her salon famous throughout the area. Olivia's parents, after sincere conversations and understanding of their daughter's determination, finally trusted and supported her. They no longer stood in the way of her dream, but were proud of the resilience and success she had achieved. Throughout this journey, the mayor and Edric were always by Olivia's side, ready to assist whenever she needed help. The three of them became close friends, sharing both the joys and hardships of life. The mayor's career flourished steadily, and Edric, with his generous heart and passion, opened a small but renowned noodle shop with amazing flavors, beloved by the locals. Each person's life has turned a new page, filled with success and joy. They are not only good friends, but also living proof of the power of friendship, perseverance, and courage in pursuing dreams.